Hi everybody. I'm sitting up in my prayer chair, spending some time with God after a long day and a long week. And tonight at Mass, God really used our priest to speak to my heart and deeply into my soul about love. It probably was the best homily I've ever heard about love in my life, because love really does look like something. He mentioned from the beginning of his homily that our name tag should read love, that everybody should be able to call us by the name of love. And what I realized today through his sermon and through a conversation I had earlier with my husband is, and what God spoke into my heart, I still want love on my terms, and how I want to receive it from my husband, from my children, and how I want to give it. I'm still trying to have control when it comes to love. And God doesn't want us to have control at all, period, and not with love. So our priest began to speak about what love looks like. And he told a story about Nazi Germany. And there was a guard at one of the concentration camps, and his job was to watch people as they went and entered into the gas chamber. And the line was really long this day, and there's men and women, young and old, one by one going past him, and some are angry, some are sad, some are stoic, some are in shock, some are in denial, some are totally afraid. And then there was this one little girl walking with her doll, and she's crying. And a part of his heart that he probably didn't even realize was still alive after doing this job day in and day out, week after week, month after month, was totally cracked open by God as he felt compassion for this little girl. But he knew he couldn't stop it, because if he tried to stop it, he would be killed by all the other guards surrounding that area, watching and making sure that the people went in and did what they were supposed to do, which was to die in the gas chamber. So he did the next best thing. He dropped his gun, walked over to the little girl, put his hand around her hand and held on to her hand. And together he walked into that gas chamber with her, and he died that day. And that's love. Just like God's love for us, perfectly and purely, he came to this world and said yes to the Father's will, and went upon that cross to reconcile us back to the Father. He pours out his love day in and day out through his grace, and he has a purpose and a plan for our suffering, just like that guy was there at the perfect time to walk in that little girl's suffering. And that's not appealing to any of us. Most of us would never want to enter into someone's suffering to death. But that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to lay down our lives. Luke 9:23 through 27. You've heard me say this so many times, or you've read it on my blog for years. To lay down our lives, deny ourselves, and pick up our crosses and follow him. Where are we following Jesus to? To the cross. To the cross. Like right there to the cross. And he wants us to deny ourselves so that his plans can be played out in our lives. He wants us to walk side by side with everybody in our lives, to open our hands up to their suffering, and to not allow our circumstances to govern whether we're willing to love them or not. Because that doesn't dictate what love is. Love looks like that man walking right into that concentration camp, the gas chamber, and dying with her. He held her in her suffering, and that's what God wants each one of us to do. Who in your life needs you to open up your hand to their suffering? And I know for me, it's my family first. It's that for every one of us. Our spouses, our children need us to walk hand in hand with them to the Father. And the beauty is that God meets us right where we are. He's not asking us to change so that he'll meet us. He wants us to come as we are to him so that he can change us by his love. We were created to know God, to love God, and to be loved by God. That's why each one of us is even here. And he's asking each one of us to allow his love to change us, to be able to freely open our hands to his plans for us, because they're good. His plans for us are good. He gives good gifts. He gives the best gifts. There isn't a good gift he wouldn't give us. But that doesn't mean that it's going to look or be packaged in the way that we desire or want. God wants us to say yes to whatever his plans are for us, and to not try and just look for the happiness in life, but to receive his love on his terms. And that's something that I needed to hear tonight. That I need to lay down my plans, lay down what I expect love to look like, what I expect love to feel like, and to say, God, you're in control and not me. So tonight, when I turn off this video, I'm going to be praying for each of you to do the exact same thing, to lay down your plans and open your hands to God's will. And ask the Father who in your life needs you to open up your hand to walk them into and through the suffering, to pick up their cross and follow Christ, literally to the death of themselves. So tonight I pray that you will receive his love, and wherever you are, know that you are deeply loved by God. No matter what you've done, no matter what's been done to you, he desires to pour his love, mercy, and grace into your life. It's just up to us to receive it the way that he wants to give it, and to lay down all control so that he can love us the way that he wants to, which is perfectly and purely for our good and his glory. Thanks for watching.